Okay, so picture this. You wake up totally confused, covered in blood,
Right.
and you have this huge gap in your memory about the night before, and, well, your best friend is dead right next to you.
It's quite the opening. Immediately grabs you.
It really does. That's the setup for Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, the book we're diving into today. And look, it's not just another dark thriller. People are calling it deliciously dark, but also laugh out loud funny.
And a world-class whodunit. It's got quite a bit going on.
Exactly. So we want to kind of unpack what makes that mix work so well. Think of this as, your shortcut to understanding why this story is so unique and clever.
And it starts with Lucy Chase.
Mhm.
She's our main character, and everyone basically already thinks she's a murderer.
Yeah, it's been 5 years since her best friend died, and now she's heading back to her Texas hometown in that cloud of suspicion. It's definitely still there.
But here's the twist, right? Her story, her return, it's all becoming the focus of a true crime podcast.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Tantera weaves this podcast, actually called Listen for the Lie, right into the book. It's hosted by this guy, Ben Owens.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting the story through Lucy's eyes, her, fragmented memories.
Which are a big question mark in themselves.
Absolutely. But also through how this podcast host is framing things.
Mm-hmm.
How did that structure strike you initially, that layering?
Well, it's not just a neat trick, is it? It really forces you, the listener, the reader, to constantly question what's true.
Yeah.
You're actively trying to figure it out. And it says so much about how narratives get built, especially like with true crime podcasts shaping public opinion. You immediately wonder, okay, whose story can I actually trust here, if anyone?
And Tantera handles the tone so skillfully. It's like, you've got this really dark crime at the center.
Yeah, murder.
But Lucy's voice is so sharp. She's got this biting sarcasm. She's very self-aware. One minute she'll say something genuinely funny, and the next, bang, you get this moment of real, raw vulnerability.
That balance is, I think, key to why the book works so well.
Yeah.
It avoids just being relentlessly grim.
Do you think that balance holds up all the way through? Or does one side ever kind of overshadow the other?
For me, it holds. It's actually why you see those comparisons to shows like Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, yeah. Good comparison. Or The Flight Attendant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That same kind of vibe, high stakes, serious situation, but also characters with wit and, real emotional baggage. It hooks people who want more than just twists. They want characters, even flawed, maybe unreliable characters they can connect with.
Absolutely. And it's not just a whodunit, is it? There are these deeper currents running through it.
Yeah, something.
Lucy's obviously dealing with major trauma. And the whole memory thing, is it really gone or is she hiding something? That's central.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also this sharp look at how society and the media jump to conclusions, how a story about someone can just sort of set in stone.
Right, even if it's not the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels very relevant today
Yeah.
with how saturated we are with true crime. You see how someone gets labeled and how incredibly hard it is to shake that label, whatever the actual truth might be. It's kind of like real life sometimes, how public opinion forms so fast.
Yeah, sometimes before all the facts are even out.
Exactly. And that speaks to why people are interested in this kind of deep dive, right? Getting beyond just the surface level of a crime story.
So let's talk characters. Lucy, first. Unreliable narrator, but totally captivating. You're always questioning her, but you're also kind of rooting for her.
Yeah, she pulls you in. There's a charisma there, despite everything.
And then Ben, the podcast guy, he's a bit mysterious too, isn't he? What do you think drives him? Is he genuinely after the truth, or is there something else going on?
Well, Ben's role is fascinating because he's not objective. He's shaping the narrative we get within the book.
Right.
It makes you think about the power dynamics in true crime.
Mm.
Who tells the story? What are their biases? How does that filter what we understand?
And it's interesting, even Savvy, the victim, isn't just like a dead body used for plot.
No, she feels developed.
Yeah. Through flashbacks, Lucy's memories, you see, their friendship was really complex. There was love, sure, but also maybe resentment, secrets, all that messy, real relationship stuff, nuanced. And even the side characters, like Lucy's grandmother or the townspeople, you get this feeling that maybe they know more than they're saying. Everyone seems to have secrets.
And giving the victim, Savvy, that depth is important. It reminds you she had a life, complexities, that her relationships weren't simple. It elevates the story beyond just who did it into something more about, well, the human cost, the community ripples.
Okay, so let's talk about what makes it such a page-turner, but, no spoilers.
Right. Keep it vague.
It really is a mind game. As you read, you're constantly like, okay, maybe it was this person, or maybe this happened. You're shifting your suspicions all the time.
Definitely.
And just when you think you've got a handle on it, Tintera throws something else in, and you're back to square one, questioning everything again.
That core theme of truth versus perception is right there, isn't it? What happens when the world's story about you is totally different from your own reality?
Yeah, how do you even function when everyone seems to have already decided who you are?
It's a powerful idea.
And tied right into that is memory. The power of memory, or maybe the unpower of it.
Exactly. Is Lucy lying? Or is her memory just genuinely broken because of the trauma? The book keeps you guessing.
It really does. It makes you think about how fragile our own memories can be.
Yeah, how reliable are any of us, really? And then there's the true crime element itself.
Yeah.
Given how popular the genre is, the book does this really interesting meta-commentary.
How so?
Well, using the podcast in the story, it kind of uses our fascination with true crime, but also subtly critiques it. Makes you think about, well, our role as consumers of these stories. Are there ethical lines?
That's a great point. So wrapping it up, listen for the lie. It's definitely more than your standard thriller.
Oh, absolutely. It takes that classic mystery framework, but adds so much more: the wit, the emotional depth.
And that really clever structure with the podcast inside it.
It feels very modern, that approach. Playing with the genre rules, reflecting how we get stories now online through different filters. That meta aspect, the podcast, it adds this layer of commentary that's really smart.
Totally agree. It's a thriller that challenges your assumptions, genuinely makes you laugh sometimes, and leaves you chewing on some pretty deep themes afterwards.
It sticks with you.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. In a world just flooded with different narratives, different regions of the truth, how do we ever know if we're genuinely listening for the lie or if we're just hearing the story we already wanted to believe?
Yeah, something to think about for sure.